What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. This story's called When Your Coworkers Don't Even Know What You Do. First and foremost, please excuse any errors in my spelling. I'm a bit dyslexic and English is not my first language. Thank you for understanding. I don't understand. Second, a bit of background. I work for a parcel delivery company, and my job is to fix parcels that have problems with the labels. If the address is wrong, give parcels to customers at our hub's pickup location, finding phone numbers and email to people who we're gonna deliver parcels to, etc. However, I'm not exactly customer service. The only calls I take are from people that have problems with labels. Nothing to do with late pickups, drivers having not delivered correctly, that sort of thing. 3. I'm not totally sure if this post fits here, but I'd say it's close enough. Now, my coworkers should know that, but sometimes it seems they either don't know what kind of work I do, or they ignore it. I have a few examples. 1. I was working one day when I got a call from a customer service representative from a different hub. We have about 8 in my country, and I pick up the phone, thinking it's something to do with a label. What I got was not this customer service rep, but an angry man complaining about how his parcels had not been picked up yet. I told him that I'm sorry, but that's not my department. He didn't give two flying love makes and demanded that I got the driver to come and pick up his parcels. After telling him, again, that it's not my department and I cannot even see who's picking up parcels in his area, he asked me to transfer him to someone who could help. Now, our phone system is run 100% via computer. Problem is, I was not instructed in how to use it, how to transfer calls and such. My company is not very good when it comes to teaching people how the new tech works, even if they use it every day. I told him that I could not do that because I hardly knew who he was going to talk to and asked him to please call our main number again, which he eventually did. I wrote the customer service rep an email and told her that I didn't have to do anything with parcel pickups and I thought that was it. But no. She continued to forward these calls to me almost every day for the next week. It wasn't until I got my supervisor involved that it stopped. 2. I have a customer service rep at the hub that I work at who, let's just say, is not the brightest spark in the fire. One day she called me and told me that there was a guy on the phone that I needed to talk to. Thinking again it was a label problem, I said, "Sure," and she forwarded him to me. What I got was a guy whose parcel had not been delivered for a few days. According to our driver, he was not home and he couldn't get in the building to place the parcel. And the man was furious, demanding an explanation on why his parcel had not been delivered, demanding an express delivery, which I can't authorize, and basically calling our company useless. I explained that I don't know why his parcel had not been delivered and that I wasn't customer service, to which he replied, "Then why the hell am I talking to you then?" I was just thinking, ask my coworker who forwarded you to me. I told him I would look into it as best as I could and would get the parcel out for delivery on the next coming weekday. This was a Friday, so it would be delivered on Monday. He got quiet and breathed heavily. I knew he was about to explode. He did eventually calm down, and after profusely apologizing for the inconvenience, I called the customer service rep and asked why she had forwarded this call to me. She replied, "Well, I figured you could explain this to him better." Lady, you are the customer service. That's your job. I talked to my supervisor and he talked to her afterwards, so I thought that was the end of it. Wrong, wrong, wrong. A little while later, I'm on the phone with another customer, when the same customer service rep shoots me an email with a phone number followed by her writing, "Call, thanks." I wrote back, why? But didn't get an answer. Knowing that I often get calls from people about label problems and that they're sometimes in a hurry, I make the mistake and call the number. What I got was an older lady who was extremely angry about not having received a parcel a few days earlier, and she was also furious about not having been notified that we had been on the address. I told her that I had tried to find a phone number for her, and she said her number was on the internet, and she called me a liar. She wasn't the receiver of the parcel, it was her husband, and I couldn't find a number for him to be exact. Then, it was another 10 minutes of me, despite it not being my job, trying to explain how our policies work and how I could not authorize express delivery, and everything I said just made her even more angry and made her chew me out even more. I told her I would make some calls and I would see what I can do, and she finally hung up. I went to my supervisor and asked him for a number for the transport manager. Why do you need his number? Customer service asked me to call someone who, as it appears, wanted a parcel delivered with express delivery due to an apparent mistake from the driver. Wait, that's not your job. You're not supposed to call people about stuff like that. That's customer service's job. I know, but they asked me to call and didn't explain what it was about. So I thought it had something to do with a label problem. Who asked you to call that number? I tell my supervisor who in customer service that asked me to call. Again? Yup. I'll go talk to her. And the reason she wanted me to call this lady, I didn't feel like I was getting through to this lady. I felt you were much better at getting through to her. I hate my job sometimes. Oh, completely understandable. I hate when people ask you to do stuff outside the scope of your job when it's their job. Oh boy! Like watching someone's kids for hours and hours and hours and not getting paid for it because you're family, and doing anything and not getting paid because you're family. I'm having flashbacks. This story's called, I Don't Care If You Can't Find Who You're Looking For. This man is literally dying. So a weird thing that happened the other day that I'm still amazed at. I'm a vigil volunteer at the local hospice center. For those who don't know, a hospice center is where elderly people with medical issues go to live out their days. Sort of like a nursing home, but more medically oriented, and a vigil volunteer is a volunteer that gets called in to comfort the elderly and their families when the doctors can tell the patient is in their final few days of life. Basically, there's a group of us who take turns and shifts as we're able to, so that the patient isn't alone during this time, or to help the family with any questions they have, or just to comfort them as well. They don't make for great places to volunteer, but it is extremely rewarding for those that don't mind, or at least are comfortable around death. This particular day, I had just gotten off a 13-hour work shift and got the call to see if I could volunteer. And I won't lie, at first I said no. The coordinator told me that the man was a Vietnam veteran though, and being a veteran myself, I decided to suck it up and go in anyway. And veterans tend to help their own when they're able to. So I go in, relieve the woman who had been watching him, and we start talking. And learn we were both from the same MOS, or job, during our time in service, and start to share war stories and other life experiences. Just basically sharing our lives with each other, which is honestly about 90% of the job. After a few hours, I guess it was probably 7 to 8 p.m. at this time, a family is being extremely loud in the hallway to the point that he can't hear me speak, so I closed the door. I guess that the lady of the family sees the door closed and came over and threw the door open so hard that it slammed against the wall. We both stare at her, and before I can say anything, she starts yelling at me. Here's the cast. Entitled lady, nurse, Vietnam veteran. Excuse me, I can't find my family member. I don't remember who. So you need to get up and help me now. Me, calmly, at first because it's somewhat reasonable that she'd think I worked here because I wore khakis and a button-down shirt, and I also remembered what some Redditors thought of my last I Don't Work Here Lady situation. Ma'am, I can't help you find anyone. You need to find a nurse for that. I also need you to keep your voice down as this is a medical facility, and you're probably disturbing the other patients. I don't care if I'm disturbing anyone. I need to find my family member, and you and the rest of the staff are useless. Okay, I'll give her credit here. There are a few useless nursing assistants that like to hide instead of answering lights and helping patients known for giving them trouble. But on the whole, it's actually a pretty good place. Ma'am, I understand you're frustrated, but unless they've moved your family member just to go to their last room, I'm sure they're still there, since patients haven't been able to move rooms or even been able to get out of their rooms at the same time because of the pandemic.
Don't you think I've tried that? They're not where they were last year. You haven't visited them in a year? Well, hell, they probably took you off the visitors list. I sure as hell would if I was them. I'd take your ass off my wheel, too.
Gotta love elderly veterans. They don't give a crap.
If you haven't noticed, we're trying to have a conversation here, so I need you to get your loud ass out of my room.
Unknown to me and entitled lady, he hit the button for the light above the door, signaling a nurse that he needs help at this point.
Just because you're old doesn't mean you can talk to me like that. I don't give a damn. Even if you're dying, you have no right.
Me and Vietnam veteran at the same time and cutting entitled lady off. Well, that's good because he and I will probably be dead by this time tomorrow. At this point, the charge nurse, aka head of the hospice at this time, walked up and heard us say this and, understandably, immediately got mad at me for bringing this up in that way and stormed past entitled lady and into the room, immediately spinning on me.
What do you think you're doing?
Trying to get this entitled bimbo to leave? Yeah, I was mad and started cursing at this point. Nurse looks like she's about to say something, but Vietnam veteran cuts in.
This woman is trying to get him to leave me alone so he can go do God knows what for her, and told me she doesn't care if I live or die.
So, maybe not her exact words, but I'm gonna blame a then soon-to-be and now actually is dead for embellishing a little to get some problem lady out of the room during his final hours. Nurse turning to Garen.
Ma'am, is this true? I'm gonna need you to get back to the front desk and wait for a nurse to help you. We've been here for 10 minutes already, with no help. I'm not waiting any longer. Well, we try to have the front desk staff 24/7, but with the virus, we're understaffed, and sometimes nurses have to leave to help out a patient or another nurse. Since there's no one there, let's go back to the front desk and see if I can help you. No, you can help me now. I demand to know where
Family member
is right this second.
Nurse's face immediately went cold. Family member
died 8 months ago and was cremated soon after because her family would not return our calls. You can check the morgue for her ashes, but I doubt they've saved them for this long.
Entitled lady looked shocked at this news. And honestly, I think what a horrible person to her family she may have been kicked in at this point. And I think she may have possibly started to cry, I'm not sure. But she definitely went quiet and walked back to her family, with the charge nurse apologizing to Vietnam veteran and following her down the hallway. I don't know what happened to them after that, and honestly, I didn't care enough to find out. I just couldn't believe that person's actions. I do feel a little sorry for the family since I don't know the reasons there was such a long time span between visits. But no matter the reason, it doesn't excuse walking into a dying man's room and causing a scene making him yell at you. Seriously, who does that? Edit. Thanks for all the love, everyone, and the rewards as well. A few have asked how to volunteer, and while I personally found out about this through a volunteer website, most hospices should have a volunteer coordinator so you can just call and ask to speak to them. As for what's wrong with Vietnam veteran or how he ended up passing, I'm sorry to say that I have no idea. While he seemed like a pretty awesome guy, I've learned that you have to keep a certain emotional distance because, well, you're there because the person is dying. You can't let yourself get too attached. I can ask for anyone interested next time I get called in, but I'm unsure when that will be. First of all, it's a really cool volunteer job, I guess that's what you call it. I'm sure you hear the most amazing stories and all that stuff. You gotta appreciate the bluntness of the Vietnam veteran. Alright, this story's called Karen, I'm literally 13! This happened about a year ago, just after I got done with volleyball. Sorry about format, my computer died. Here's the cast. OP, yours truly.
Karen, mean lady.
Jim, Karen's husband. To catch you up, I was one of those girls that filled out young. I mean young, like 11. I'm pretty short too, so if people just see me in baggy clothes, they think I'm my actual age. If I have makeup on, I look 16. I was sitting down to eat at a restaurant in the town I was playing volleyball at when I had to go to the restroom. I just told my mom what I wanted to drink and got up to use the restroom. I'm wearing a black dress, and the waitresses are too, mind you. The ladies' room is across the restaurant, of course. It's packed, so I squeezed through the tables being polite. I hear a lady in front of me repeating, "Excuse me, excuse me!" So I turned around and looked at her, and she groaned.
Finally, some damn service! I've been waiting for 10 minutes to even order my drinks!
I'm sorry, miss.
You better be sorry. I want the first round of drinks to be on the house for compensation.
Ma'am, as I tried to say, I'll have a most expensive drink now. Sir, I don't work here.
Of course you do. You're like 16. I should probably tell your manager your dress is too short. I can see your thighs.
Miss, I'm not even in high school. If you think I'm even 14, you're wrong. Besides, why are you staring at my body? I am 13. It took a lot to stand up because of my untreated social anxiety, but I did it. I remember my meal got taken off the check and it was like $25. Edit. She also seemed like a choosing beggar, I believe, if my memory serves me right, that she was seated at the same time as my family was. First of all, good job standing up. It can be fun to do once you do it, in my opinion at least. But as far as I know, I don't have social anxiety. But, geez, Karen, stop looking at teenage girl thighs, you weirdo. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.